about it. So we've been able to stand on the shoulders of that kind of work, and then take the time in our documentary to stitch together so many dots into the 2 hours, but really then to guide people to the solution section. And we thought we were going to have to spend 6 months to a year just arguing about whether the Federal Reserve was federal or whether or not there's some kind of intentional conspiracy. But it's not that way at all. People are going, okay, all right, we get it. Even if we didn't before, now we're getting it. And what can we do about it? And I'm happy to say that there are already, just in 3 months, there are hundreds of self-creating, Thrive-inspired solutions groups now meeting in cities, states, and countries all over the world, taking this film and using some of the solution suggestions that we suggest and dividing by sectors. So some people take on the governance, others are justice, others are media, others are education or environment, and then using an organizational model that we're offering to try to coordinate their actions not only locally, but nationally and also globally.
Well, that's what really worries the system, is people getting past the left-right paradigm and all these labels and really realizing, hey, we're all in this together. We better take control of the system away from these crazies and start reversing things, or we don't have any future. And I think it's because the danger is so great. Everybody instinctively, or in their gut, their spirit, whatever you want to call it, knows we're 2 minutes to midnight. And I think we're going to see a lot of people in the power structure itself, we're already seeing that, realize that it's this system is going in the wrong direction. We've got to change it. I want to get your perspective on that and talk about some subsections of the film, alternative energy, and more with the makers of the film Thrive, available at Infowars.com. We'll be right back after this quick break. Stay with us. I'll be frank, I don't fear the Reaper. I'm not in a hurry to die. But I do fear democide, government killing populations, humanity's genetics being damaged by all the toxic waste and manipulation and GMO. Our DNA is changing. We are mutating for the worse. The heavy metals, all of it. I do fear for future generations because I know I'm part of a larger species. And I do care about humanity. I don't hate humanity. This is a short segment, long segment coming up to really get into the film. But Foster Gamble and Kimberly Gamble have put together the film Thrive. And you can go to their website that we have linked on Infowars.com and see their solutions area and a lot more. And they can give that to you here on air as well. But what section, because you cover so much in the film, should we get into first? How about the alternative energy being suppressed? I mean, there's really strong evidence there. I mean, that is going on.
That's probably the area that we're getting the strongest response to from all over the world, because we're really inviting people to indicate their intention to join what we call a critical mass action, where people say, I'll show up for a demonstration if there's enough people, or I'll contribute money, or I'll invest in a company to get these technologies out. And we're getting many responses a day from scientists, inventors, and potential funders from all over the world saying, the evidence is pretty compelling that this is real. I mean, after all, why would all these guys be getting their labs raided and their equipment stolen and their patents shut down if it was just a bunch of charlatans and hoaxers? So I'm very excited about the
Well, look at the FBI raiding Tesla right after he died.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure, I mean, look at the FBI raiding right after he died. And expanding, we know about General Motors and Ford patents on gasoline and diesel engines that were getting 70, 80 miles a gallon 30, 40 years ago. There's all sorts of basic stuff we know they've suppressed. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and also one of the things is that we dubbed Thrive in 9 different languages besides English, and people have actually taken it upon themselves and added subtitles for, Portuguese and Greek, and so it's out there in the world. And one of the things we're doing is hearing back from people all over the world about what they know about free energy technology too. So in addition to having this cross-pollination between the different issues and topics that we bring up in Thrive, it also is getting cross-pollinated globally. So it's been really exciting that way.
Well, free energy would bring down this current system and would empower humanity. I mean, that's a no-brainer. Get into some of the evidence they're suppressing.
Well, I've been blessed, along with Kimberly, to be able to have visited some of these laboratories of some of the inventors, some of whom are in the film and some aren't. And all but one of them have been shut down. So I've seen these people. I've talked to them. I've seen the look in their eyes. Their spouses are terrified. Their lives have been threatened. Literally the doors get banged down. The FBI SWAT team comes in and starts taking all the equipment and telling them if they even talk about it, they'll take them out of the game. So it's a very intense and very real situation.
And that's why there's so much safety in numbers now in bringing this up. And it's one of the reasons that we made the commitment to doing that in the film, is to just bring it out in the open, have that conversation, so that, like you're seeing with so many other things, as people get engaged, it just gets harder and harder to stop.
I mean, if we did have free energy, or even the stuff they admit exists, the better forms of energy, there goes war right there. There goes the biggest resource problem we've got. There is the empowerment, and so we can educate and lift people up. There is all the answers right there.
Yeah, and imagine the prosperity in this country if you had minimal or no energy bills and we had an honest money system. So many of the rest of these big government problems would go away if people were simply allowed to access energy that inexpensively and not to be robbed by the Federal Reserve System.
Wow. And it's all covered in Thrive. I know you guys have several big sites. What's the best one for people to visit to learn more?
ThriveMovement.com. And then you can go from there. There's you can get right to all of the solutions and what can I do, and sign up for critical mass actions, or rent the movie or buy the movie or explore anything. You can spend months on our site, ThriveMovement.com. And
if you rent the movie and you get value out of it, you can gift it forward to your friends right over the internet for a 20% discount. They're also, another thing that people are doing is either using the DVD or just doing a download and creating a screening either in their home for a few people or in some local auditorium for their screenings for up to 1,000 people going on all over the world. And this is a way that a lot of people are getting access, very inexpensively, and then having really constructive solutions conversations that follow the film. And there have been over 3,000 of those already around the world.
And we're actually
That's amazing.
Having a chance. We're going to be going to Australia in June for a solutions tour there, because really, looking at the stages that are needed to get us from here to a thriving world is the way we set up our whole solution strategy. And that is what's engaging.
Yeah, well, you're having a big effect. Kimberly, stay there. We've got to come right back after this break. We'll get into banking and more. Stay with us.
We're on the march. The empire's on the run.
Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, 12 noon to 3 p.m. Eastern. We're here live back Sundays, 4 to 6 p.m. Central. Don't forget Infowars Nightly News, where I will premiere New World Order Blueprint of Mad Men. Now, look, it's a 40-minute documentary, and it basically deals with the facts that we're told give up all our rights because of terrorism, and it's essentially a non-existent, blown-up fear like the boogeyman. I mean, to be killed by a terrorist, even if he lived in Egypt or somewhere, or Israel, is 1 in a million plus. We've got all the government's numbers. Compared to all the other things happening, it's several hundred places down in probability. But they're saying, give up all your rights. It's a clear system to bring in authoritarian control. It's a clear excuse. That said, everybody's getting really excited because I haven't made a film in over a year and a half. This is not one of my big official films. It's going to be free. Everybody's saying, where do I get the DVD? It's going to be free. Prisonplanet.tv members will see it premiere tonight first. It'll be up this evening. Then after it goes out on the news, posted as an MP4 for everybody. And then the next few days, I'll put it on one of our YouTube channels. We have our own system because we're always getting censored on other people's websites. So we have to have our own system. Members that pay it forward, pay us 15 cents a day or whatever, you fund us making things like this. But this is important. New World Order Blueprint of Mad Men. You've got to know why we don't want to go with their system so that people are ready to try to have a debate and a discussion about a new system. Now, talking about our guests that are on with us, you can get the Thrive film at Infowars.com and get a free citizen rule book while you're at it, or you can go to their site and get it. Regardless, get it and show it to people in your area, just like you can do with my films, so that they understand what's happening. But people are starting to wake up. Now we've got to give them solutions. And this film covers problems, but also solutions. That's why I like it. Now, there's terms in the film like sustainability in our community. People go, well, sustainability, that's a UN Agenda 21 term. The globalists take every term, and then they use real problems and then offer their bad solution that gives them more power, like pay Al Gore to breathe and that'll fix the problem. No, I'm not worried about carbon dioxide. I'm worried about GMO literally spreading into the entire biosphere, ruining and wrecking all animal and human and mammal DNA it comes in contact with in the big public studies. This is already happening. The heavy metals they add into the water under the name of fluoride. It's wrecking our DNA. Deformities, all sorts of chromosomal diseases that were incredibly rare are becoming commonplace, neurological disorders. You know the numbers. The film covers this and does it in a very good way. And it's again, it's just for the general public. It's well done. But I wanted to bring this up because when I first had listeners saying, you got to see this. It's got a lot of good solutions and sounds really good, but then it talks about sustainability. Well, in Austin, people started getting chickens in their own yards, which was legal and lawful. Now the Austin has come in with a law to try to restrict it. This is a big UN-run city where I live. Not there today. I'm in Baton Rouge. All over the country, they're trying to stop backyard gardens, front yard gardens. The enviros aren't enviros. They're trying to seize control. Now, I know I'm ranting here. The point is that there's real sustainability. I've moved out in the country, got a water well, a garden, and a wall around my house. That's sustainability for my family. That's being self-sufficient. When they say sustainability, they mean cutting off your resources. So do you guys want to explain that? Because you use some of the terms that the globalists use. Of course, they use all the terms. And
try to take all the good ones them for their own meaning, but I want to be very clear with people that I think being sustainable is critical, but what we're recommending is the farthest thing from the Agenda 21 meaning of that. It's really about voluntary association and aligning our existence with natural principles so we can not only survive but thrive. But it's not about turning those systems over to some centralized authority to tell us how to live and what we can eat and what we can grow and all that.
Because that's never worked, and that's exactly. The globalists create this unsustainable system that's wasteful and everything else. I mean, it's screwed up, and then they offer their solution, which is more of the same. Exactly. Talk about Agenda 21, and of course your wife there worked on the film so much, and talk about the whole Federal Reserve angle that you're introducing to people. I mean, it really has a nice mix of all the key issues of how these controllers are in control.
Well, one of the things that we did was investigate and follow the money in all 12 what we call the major sectors of human endeavor. And it was a shock to me to find exactly the same families in charge of every single sector. And, we came to the realization that it wasn't because they're any smarter, any better than anyone else. It's because they're the ones who run the money scam. And it's just like playing Monopoly. If you can make up money, it's not going to take you that long. Even if it takes 100 years, you're going to buy everybody else out. And we're on the verge of that right now. So we look to expose that system because with the internet now and shows like yours, when we started our work, you were lucky to find anything on the internet about the Federal Reserve being not federal. And last time I checked, there were over 31 million references for that phrase alone. So obviously people are waking up and finding out, and that's why that system is crumbling. But as that system crumbles, it's critical that we have new systems that we are building based on integrity, based on liberty, that can grow a new and free society. So we give in our solutions section and in the film some overarching strategies, like getting out of the IMF and the World Bank and shutting down the Federal Reserve and going to a non-GMO organic farming, campaign finance reform, that type of thing. But then people go, well, geez, what can I do about such a vast thing? So then our second section is what can I do personally? And we recommend a top 10 actions that people can take just by changing their lifestyle choices that don't take a lot of time or money, and that you can easily join coalitions to shut down the Federal Reserve, to keep the internet open. You can easily bank locally. If you're in one of these big tapeworm banks, you can shift your money in a couple of hours. You can take part in critical mass actions related to free energy or GMOs, independent media. So there's a ton that you can do, and we can suggest that people print out our top 10 recommendations, put them on your refrigerator, and whatever